Alright, so the $400 bass boat, I purchased a brand new battery, so we're into this project for $500. I hooked up the wires just to see what would happen, and when I hit the power tilt over here, it actually works. I ended up putting a little more hydraulic fluid in the cylinder here, which is this screw right here, and the rams start going up until this one itself goes up, and we're gonna actually lower the motor now so that way we can work on it, get it cleaned up, and see if we can get this thing fired up soon. So I popped the hood, and although there is mold and barnacles and stuff growing on the top of this hood, you can tell that this engine doesn't have many hours on it, and not much water or moisture was getting in the engine. It doesn't look like over the years. They got cobwebs on it, so you can kind of tell that it hasn't been running I don't know how many years. Spiders living in here. There's a big spider right there. But aside from the spiders and cobwebs, I mean, these parts look good. They don't have many hours on this motor at all. It's unbelievable. It's gonna clean up real nice. So on this engine, the starter works, the solenoid works, it cranks, it just doesn't have spark. We're working on the Wellcraft project. We've got the 140 horsepower Evinrude. We're working on getting some of these wires cleaned up, and we found a couple problems. So you can see right here, this red wire was completely stripped off. I just put new stainless steel hex screws on here, and we're gonna get some new wires on here. We have checked the compression and put in some new spark plugs. The compression is not great, but it's also not bad. All cylinders are above 100, and I'm hoping that once we get this thing running and get it oiled right, get it lubed up, that maybe we can get the compression up slightly. I'm hoping that's how that works, because I don't think this thing's been running about 20 years. All right, so y'all may have noticed already that I purchased an engine hoist. I got this thing, it looks like a Pittsburgh Automotive from Harbor Freight. It was only $200, that included tax. So pretty awesome. It's up to a 1 ton, and it has handled this little motor with ease. I am very happy with it so far, and it's gonna make this project and many other projects much easier. I wouldn't be able to work on this motor lying on the ground or anything, so this has been great and valuable. So the old power tilt switch was all burnt up, so we went to Ace Hardware and we found this nice C-Choice two-way toggle switch that's going to seem to work perfect. We put some new wire connectors on here. After we got that fixed, we saw that the fuse box would, I guess it had wasp or something in there, and then it got wet, so it's all muddy. And we found a relay that looks like it was all burnt up. So when I went to pull the relay out, the box just separated from the top of it, but you can see that sucker's burnt up. So we're gonna get a new relay in here, fix a couple of these cheap wire connections. I'm gonna put stainless steel hex screws here, clean this thing up, get it looking right before we even hook it up to power again. All right, one other component that we found a problem with was this rectifier. When you see the back of it, it looks like it was ripped and all the stuff started oozing out of it. So I found one of these on eBay for like 15 bucks. So I'm hopeful by fixing these 3 electrical issues, we're gonna have this engine running real soon. So the 140 horsepower Evinrude is still not running. It's not getting spark. When I took a look at the ignition coils, I noticed that this one was all cracked up. One of the other ones is all oozing out. The other one just looks corroded. So I'm just gonna go ahead and replace all 4 of the coils. It was only $18 a piece, and if it helps prevent any issues in the future, I think it'll be worth it. So I'm gonna replace these and then try the engine again, see if we can get spark. If not, I'm gonna have to do some more research on stators and figure out how to test stators. So someone dropped this cowling pretty hard, and the fiberglass mesh under here is very soft, and it's not nearly hard enough to just put some Bondo or some filler on there. So I am gonna put some fiberglass cloth. I got a little fiberglass kit, and I'll probably put at least 2 or 3 pieces of cloth. All right, so I painted on some resin. This seems to be the lowest spot, so I'm gonna put that little piece there. I'm gonna come back across with this piece here, because that's the second lowest. And then I've got a third piece to cover the entire area. Hopefully that'll do the trick. I've got a little roller. Smash this down. Roll out the air bubbles. So far so good. It's looking pretty legit. Put this next piece on. Alright, that's going to be it for now. We're going to let this dry. I'm going to put a little filler over all of it just to smooth down the fibers. I'll give it a little sanding, do some painting. I'm thinking what I'm going to do, since all this is scratched up on the top, I might just mask down this decal line here and just paint the entire top, because that's a different color also right there. And I'll just paint the entire top one color, like, you know, gray Rust-Oleum color. I'm not replacing these raised letters and stickers and everything on this thing. That could get expensive. I'm trying to stay in this build flip for as cheap as possible. If anything, I might put some white paint in these letters here. But other than that, I'm not, like I said, I'm not trying to sink a lot of money into this. So we'll make it look good, but we're not making it look professional. We're gonna pressure wash all this and bleach it. I might even put not extra foam, but new foam on the inside, because it looks pretty bad. But like I said, if it's something that's gonna cost a lot of money, we're not doing it. We're keeping this as a cheap project as we possibly can. So here's where we put the fiberglass patch. We've got it sanded down. It's nice and smooth. It is very hard. I'm very happy with the way that this turned out. I'm now sanding the top of this cowl, and I'm just roughing up the surface, getting any crusty looking cracks and stuff around the edges. And I'm gonna wipe this down with some acetone and get it painted. All right, so it turns out there was 3 reasons that we weren't getting spark. One was the rectifier here. I got my new rectifier in, or actually it's a used rectifier, but it seems to work fine. I bought it for $13 on eBay. It's pretty awesome. The second issue was a broken wire. And the third issue was not the coils. I bought new coils. Obviously I still need to replace the wire connector here. But anyway, I don't think I needed to buy new coils. And I'm gonna share something with y'all that it's very embarrassing. However, it's a very rookie mistake that I'm sure other people would make. And what's the point of this video if not to help other people to get the confidence to work on motors and fix problems? This is technically my second boat flip ever. So anyway, so the rookie mistake is this controller here looked like this. And I was turning the key, the starter would go, and it seemed like it was gonna crank, but nothing would happen. We weren't getting spark. So I kept troubleshooting all these other issues. There was no kill switch hooked up. So I hooked up a kill switch and we have spark. So stupid. So stupid. So this boat didn't come with a kill switch. I pulled this off the other one. But I didn't even notice it until I was thinking, oh, maybe it's the power pack, maybe it's the stator. Power packs are like 70 bucks, stators are 200 bucks. I'm so glad I didn't go buying more parts. I mean, I could have been into this for $350 more. Anyway, we've got spark, baby. So in fact, I didn't even finish replacing these old ignition coils because the eBay shipper for some reason didn't realize that I had quantity 4, and he only shipped me 1 of them. So he's gonna ship me 3 more. But I got spark on all 3. I pulled out the spark plugs and tested the spark on every cylinder. I got spark. I got it to crank. It's sounding pretty decent, but now I'm gonna clean out the carburetors and get this thing really running. All right, here goes nothing for the first time in probably 20 years. What's going on there? Wee. Alright, so either fuel's not being sent the right way, or the carbs are completely dirty, which is a very good possibility. But we're well on our way. I think I'm just going to take the carbs off and get those clean, because one way or another the engine's not going to run smooth if we don't do that. Alright, since I started these projects, I picked up some more tools. These are going to be invaluable trying to get things out, like the carburetor I'm about to use. And this little tool right here is so handy. It's such a cool little set. I've already used it like 5 times and I love it. So, you know, sometimes you got to get some tools to work on things. Hyper Tough, it's that Walmart brand, but so far these things have worked great for me. So I'm not doing mechanic work in some professional shop. Stuff works for me. So I'm pulling these carbs apart, and this is either a filter or a fuel sender. And look at this hose back here. It's all chewed up. Thank God we didn't try and take this thing anywhere. We would have had gas all up in the engine. So we bought new fuel line, and we're just going to replace where this circles around and comes back over to here. We might as well just replace these little pieces in here. Fuel hose is like $7 a foot or something, so we're talking another $10 maybe here. So we'll go ahead and take care of that while we're in here. All right, so I finally got the carbs off. They don't give you much room to work in here. I had to use a little end wrench like this, little 11 millimeter. Found another key piece to this puzzle. If you notice right here, this is a small gas hose, I believe. Somebody replaced this starter apparently. Look at this hose. I don't know if y'all can see that very good. It is completely smashed. Absolutely, completely, 100% smashed. It's almost cut in half. It is cut in half, actually. Alright, so that's got to be one key component here. These carbs weren't getting the gas that they should have when somebody replaced this starter. So we're going to have to pull that out and get a new hose for this. So I'm starting to figure out what happened with this engine, the story behind it, basically. Somebody was having starting issues. He replaced the starter. He crushed the fuel hose. And then he was having carburetor issues. And then he was just like, screw this motor. I'm sick of it. And let it sit in his yard for 20 years. That's one of the major reasons we got this thing for 200 bucks. So, you know, more power to us. We're trying to figure it out and sticking with this project until we get it working. Just look at this fuel hose. Absolutely no gas was getting to that other carburetor. This side is fine. This side, absolutely, completely smashed. Alright, I don't know too much about carbs, but I'm pretty sure this oily gas substance on these screws that was leaking out of this was pretty nasty. This gasket looks like it's shot. There's like black corrosion on these things. I think this float thing is good. the pin in there. You can see that seems to work just fine. I'm pretty sure that's good. I'm gonna take this apart a little further and get out the brake cleaner and start cleaning this thing. So I've got the carburetors all cleaned up. They're looking good. Got them reinstalled. And I want to put this air intake back with this little fuel pump. I believe this is a fuel pump. But things are going to be a little more complicated because this tiny little plastic nipple, if you will, came off of right here. It broke off when I pulled out the plastic fuel hose. So now I'm going to attempt to epoxy this and put it back with a paper clip on the inside to hold the valve open as a temporary fix, just so I can see if this is going to fix the engine. But I will try and order one of these online for the permanent fix. It's just I don't see any part numbers, and I'd like to see if this engine's going to run, so wish me luck. Alright, so here's our little experiment. The idea is as soon as this epoxy dries, I'll pull out that paper clip, and hopefully this will work for us for now. These things are about $45 used plus shipping, so we're talking probably close to $70 for a used what is this, solenoid primer solenoid. So to me that's not really worth it right now. I just want to see if this engine's gonna run.